are not being bought by the processors. There must be a reason.
Right, and I guess you've had all the details there. If you look at the situation here, the milk has the market now. I think if I'm to look at our produce, if I'm to look at our dairy sector, or if I'm to look at our agriculture, mainly putting agriculture as our first priority should actually be the main emphasis as the country, because mainly we have always looked at technology as an option as well. We've looked at tourism, we've looked at all those sectors, but I think if you're good at something, make sure you're always trained so hard to remain number one, and that is where agriculture sets us in. Because if we look at Kenya denying us the opportunity to export our market, rather to export our produce to them, and then Zambia comes in with a helping hand, I guess it's high time we use it as an opportunity for us as Uganda. As you can see that about 3,000 bags of powdered milk and packets of Lato milk in December 2019 were confiscated by Kenyan authorities, claiming that the milk had been smuggled in the country without taxation. So when Kenya claims something like that, I try to bring it in a perspective where our government is actually saying, all the Uganda Revenue Authority, by the way, is saying we've actually been losing a huge amount of money from smuggled goods. Look at the smuggled alcohol, smuggled fuel passing through the West Nile region from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now cases here saying, Kenya says, 2019, Kenya confiscated the milk product, saying, now you people have smuggled powdered milk here. And then my worry here is the milk that has been smuggled has a UNBA standard mark. And at the end of the day, it is drawing a picture to our country that when we are trying so hard to fight smuggling, we are the champions of smuggling. Just an opinion. It is not a fact. It is just an allegation anyway. But if you're to look again, look at even the fight against corruption that we've been having for quite every year. We have an annual march to actually march out corruption in this country. And always people pose questions and say some of the people who actually joined the president in the march against corruption in Uganda are among those who champion it. So if you look at these situations and scenarios, Kenya has lots and lots of excuses to say why we are not importing milk from Uganda. Is one, they smuggle things in our country. They want to skip taxes. They feel like taxes are a burden to them. Two, their products are of poor quality. And when Kenya starts citing poor quality products from Uganda, this takes us back to remember the time when we were in lockdown of the first phase of COVID, when we're in a situation of people actually giving out relief food, relief funds to the government, to the Prime Minister's office. Remember all those situations? And just recently here where the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja, had to fly to Kasese to find out poor quality or substandard blankets. Looking at the quality of the bins, they just look like someone just picked out the bins, packed them in a sack. Nothing like checking through to see whether these ones are of a standard or to meet the standard of what a human being is supposed to take. Because normally, I'm someone who loves eating, by the way. And I take eating very seriously. Just like when it comes to money matters, we all get too serious with it, don't we? Now when we go to eating, I'm also serious, but I love eating good quality food. So I think it starts with us as the government. We want to export these products, but are we exporting the quality that we can actually eat? Because that has always been a question posed out to the members of parliament, those in the government, the big organizations that are giving out relief food, that yes, you're giving out this relief food to refugees, to the vulnerable, but when you're giving this type of food to them, if it was you, would you eat it? Bigger question, isn't it? That needs a lot of answers. Away from that, let's move on and check out some of the other stories. As the government of Uganda has approved ratification of the Uganda Democratic Republic of Congo Intergovernment Agreement for the joint construction of road infrastructure. During a media briefing in Kampala, the Minister of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, says the government has approved the Uganda Democratic Republic of Congo road project aiming at economic growth. More of the details. The government has approved ratification of the Uganda Democratic Republic of Congo Intergovernmental Agreement for the joint construction of road infrastructures. While addressing the press at Media Center, the Minister of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, says the government has approved the Uganda Democratic Republic of Congo Intergovernmental Agreement for the joint construction of road infrastructure aimed at economic growth.
The cabinet that sat on that day approved the signing and ratification of the Uganda Democratic Republic of Congo Intergovernmental Agreement for the joint construction of road infrastructure with the following expected outcomes.
On 25th October 2021, the cabinet ministers, chaired by President Yoweri Museveni at State House in Entebbe, approved the joint construction of infrastructure between Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Baryomunsi notes that the roads will stretch till the eastern part of Congo to ensure maximum trade exploitation of the region, since it's underdeveloped yet endowed with business opportunities, benefiting not only DRC but also the western part of Uganda.
The government of Uganda, in partnership with the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo, will support the construction of some roads leading to the eastern part of DRC for strategic and trade-related benefits, because the eastern part of Congo is not very well developed, and yet there is a lot of business and trade.
Baryomunsi further says the agreement will strengthen the bilateral relations between Uganda and Congo, accompanied with increased volume of trade between the countries, most especially Kanungu and Kasese districts, among others.
Strengthen the bilateral relations between Uganda and DRC, because DRC is our neighbor, and this intervention will strengthen the bilateral relations between the two sister countries. Number two, we expect to see an increased volume of trade between Uganda and DRC. Currently, there is a lot of business going on between the two countries. Whether you look at the side of Soro, or Kanungu, or Kasese, or West Nile, there is a lot of business interaction, and Uganda is said to benefit greatly once these roads have been constructed. Number three, the unexpected outcome shall be improved people-to-people movement and security. One of the challenges that we have in the eastern DRC, that there are pockets of insecurity, and yet Ugandans interact greatly with our neighbors in Congo. In the case
Democratic Republic of Congo, our neighbors, all these cases you hear of smuggling, away from that, this is a country where we've actually been getting most probably some of, look at timber from Congo there, very good quality. Congo has actually been known for having thick forests, just like you hear the word thick forests. And this is if you're to look at the infrastructure goal here, is to look at mainly, let us focus on the roads. We've been mentioning of the impact of the roads in Uganda and of what Intondas is transportation to any growing economy. And it is just evident to each one of us that when you look at the economy of Uganda today, let's focus on the agriculture and what has happened. Most probably, most of the infrastructure that is being constructed are the roads. The government has actually embarked on road projects. on construction of different roads to actually widen the lanes. If it was a single lane, it's becoming a double lane. And at the end of the day, here we are looking at a scenario where we are looking at the government and that of the Democratic Republic of Congo. This actually happened on the 25th of October when the cabinet minister, before we actually come to this story, this happened on the 25th of October when the cabinet ministers had been led by the president, Yoweri Museveni, State House in Entebbe, approved the joint construction of infrastructure between Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, going back to August this very year, when the bilateral talks then actually led to a launch of a road that will actually be at the border of Uganda and Democratic Republic of Congo. Widen it. The construction should be of a standard road. And at the end of the day, this is to actually improve on the transportation of these products, whether agriculture, whether trade. All of this is going to help the country, the two countries, in terms of the trade. Now, Baryomosi says that the agreement will strengthen the bilateral relations between Uganda and Congo, accompanied with increased volume of trade between the countries, most especially people settled in Kanungu and Kasese districts, among others. Just as you can see, if we can have room to export as well as import from the Democratic Republic of Congo, as we have actually been looking at the idea, now mainly if you're to focus on the importation and exportation of different products in Uganda. Look at it in this way, that if we have countries that are providing or giving us room for importation and as well as exportation of the various products, and these are our neighbors. Let's look at say maybe Rwanda. Rwanda is out of the picture because of the border that was closed. But if you're to look at the Democratic Republic of Congo, there is still room for most of the investors there. I think if away from the picture that has actually been painted with the recent explosive attacks coming into the country, and according to the police, the head of all this is of the ADF, and he's actually settled in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Away from the security threat it poses, but if you look at the nature of business in Congo and Uganda, most probably it is quite the same, in a way that most of the products that are being sold here can actually be sold in the Democratic Republic of Congo, giving room for, we have a number of Congolese in the country, and as well as a number of Ugandans carrying out different economic activities in Congo. But the bigger worry there is, I think what the government should actually focus more is, the two governments should actually focus more on the smuggling of different products into both countries. Because the Uganda Revenue Authority came out and said they lose over 500 billion annually from smuggled goods from the Democratic Republic of Congo through the West Nile region, where the youth over there, most probably because they're unemployed, they are using that route to actually smuggle products coming through into the country. And I guess if the government is to boost the bilateral relations that they're actually claiming, we should look at the idea of smuggling. How do the products get into the country? Are they of standard? Are they taxed? Are they having legal entry into that? Because the bigger claim would always look at the smugglers here. The smugglers, it's something we need to fight. As much as we are fighting the corruption in different countries, look at the smuggling idea. I've actually been having the first story that we did discuss about, which included Kenya, saying the Ugandans had smuggled Lato milk to Kenya in 2019. So you can see this thing of smuggling, just like other countries. If you go to some countries where smuggling is actually a very huge crime, and if you put it into human trafficking, it becomes another situation. It becomes another tough situation or scenario for the others. Okay, let's move on. Away from that, let's also discuss something about the Tanzania and the Uganda Oil and Gas Symposium, which is set for November in Dar es Salaam. The symposium will provide a platform for the private sector to network, understand industry opportunities and challenges, showcase their capacities through experience sharing. Let's first have a look at this. I'll be right back. According to officials, Private Sector Foundation Uganda, together with Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, in partnership with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through its Uganda High Commission in Tanzania, will convene a Tanzania-Uganda Oil and Gas Symposium on November 25th in Dar es Salaam. The theme of the symposium is enhancing private sector participation in the oil and gas sector. Tanzania and Uganda enjoy a long-standing, deep, historical, diplomatic and economic relationship that has been strengthened by recent developments in the oil and gas industry, especially the East African Crude Oil Pipeline Project. It is estimated that during just the construction phase of East African Crude Oil Pipeline Project, Uganda and Tanzania will see an increase of over 60% in foreign direct investment. The investment in the oil and gas projects shall total up to $20 billion within the East African Crude Oil Pipeline Project. Investment alone over $3.5 billion. The symposium will provide a platform for the private sector to network, understand industry opportunities and challenges, showcase their capacities through experience sharing, identify key strategies that can enable partnerships and joint ventures between Uganda and Tanzania, private sector, and interact with public sector actors on legal and policy matters govern the industry, both Uganda and Tanzania. Eli Karuhanga, chairman PSFU, said that the East African Crude Oil Pipeline Project, which runs from Lake Albert to the Tanzanian port of Tanga, will create over 5,000 jobs and could create a further indirect 20,000 jobs for our people. Therefore, communication is vital to bring local companies up to speed with what is required of them to participate in the sector. The Ugandan High Commissioner to Tanzania, Ambassador Richard Kabonero, said that the symposium will promote cooperation between the two countries to facilitate business within the oil and gas sector. Okay, symposiums are always opportunities for different dialogues to prevail, opportunities for countries that are engaging or two parties who actually come up to a general understanding that, hey, this is what we're going to do, and at the end of the day, if it's beneficial, it goes both ways. It is a 50-50. It is a two-way traffic thing. If I'm getting, you're getting. Recently, we saw the President, Samia Suluhu Hassan, coming into the country to meet the head of state here, the Commander-in-Chief General, that is His Excellency, and they actually came out to an understanding, some of which, most of the topics that arguably were discussed about include the oil and gas sector in Uganda. Vision 2040 has it aligned that the oil and gas sector is one of those sectors of the economy where Uganda is seriously targeting. Ever been with a vision of your business and you've looked at some of the products and you're like, yes, by 2025, if I'm going to venture into this business, I should have reached this milestone. If I've started selling clothes in Owino, by 2025, I should have a well-established boutique in one of the arcades in Uganda. May not be arcades in one of the shopping malls in Uganda, maybe. And you can actually read them. So that is where you can see 2040, Vision 2040 is where we are looking at. And we're looking at the oil and gas sector in Uganda to be an opportunity to provide something for the Ugandans, not only the Ugandans and also the Tanzanians. According to the officials from the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda, together with the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, in partnership with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs through its Uganda High Commission in Tanzania, will convene Tanzania-Uganda Oil and Gas Symposium on November 25th in Dar es Salaam. How many days to November? Hopefully 3 to 2, 2 to 3. We are soon going there. By next week, we shall already be in November, kickstarting it off in fashion, style, and everything. Away from that, the theme of the symposium is enhancing the private sector participation in the oil and gas sector. The same situation, we had the launch of the symposium last month, and it was live on Smart 24 TV from Uganda, where the Tanzanian Private Sector Foundation, together with Uganda, the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda, having come to an understanding and an agreement which actually saw the ambassador of Tanzania, the High Commission of Tanzania to Uganda coming through as well. We also have the Tanzanian ambassador, the Ugandan ambassador commission to Tanzania taking part into this. So this was an opportunity to look at how the private sector is going to benefit out of it. Because if we are to benefit from the oil and gas, I think someone would ask, why is Tanzania in the picture? Now, if you're looking at a situation where we've always been using the Mombasa port as our channel majorly all our imports and exports before the Dar es Salaam came through because of the distance matters. This time around, if you look at Tanzania, we have the Tanga port. And this one is going to be the main focus during the oil and gas sector. And I guess by the time of 2025, when we start exportation of this oil and gas, this is why the pipeline is going to be passing through Tanzania, through the different cities of Tanzania. And that is where Tanzania comes through into the same picture here. Now, Tanzania and Uganda enjoy a long distance, deep historical, diplomatic and economic relationship that has been strengthened by recent developments in the oil and gas industry, principally the East African crude oil pipeline project. And it is estimated that during the just the construction phase of the East African crude oil pipeline project, Uganda and Tanzania will see an increase of over 60% in foreign direct investment, and that the investment in the oil and gas projects shall total up to 20 billion US dollars. With the East African crude oil pipeline project, investment alone from the project is over $3.5 billion. The symposium is set to provide a platform for the private sector to network, understand industry opportunities and the challenges, showcasing their capacity through experience sharing from both the private sectors, because they are one of the key stakeholders in here, as well as partnerships and joint ventures between the two. Now, public sector actors on legal and policy matters that govern the industry in both Uganda and Tanzania will also take part. And according to Eli Karuhanga, the chairman of the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda, said the East African crude oil pipeline project, which runs from Lake Albert to the Tanzanian port of Tanga, will create over 5,000 jobs and would attract more 20,000 jobs in the due course, bringing it to a total of 25,000 if the stage kicks off. And therefore, communication is vital to bring local companies up to speed with what is required of them to participate in the sector, because this is to mitigate the idea and the advantage that once the local companies engage in this, once the citizens are engaging in this, it is going to help them understand or get the relative information or access the information which is there for them to benefit from the oil and gas sector. I guess that is one of the reasons as to why you keep on driving your business, to give you the latest updates from all these sectors so that you as a Ugandan can still benefit from all these sectors. And I mean, if you benefit, we're benefiting. If there is employment opportunities for both of us, yes, it is going to be good to go for both the countries, Uganda and Tanzania. And what a way to say kickstarting it off with Vision 2040. And if we look at the oil and gas sector, promising one, very, very promising. I normally give examples of countries like Nigeria. If you look at it, is one of Africa's strong economies, and they have steadily been able to reach that stage because of their oil and gas sectors. Even the richest man on the continent, Aliko Dangote, having most of the oil refineries in Nigeria, so which shows you the impact. Look at the countries in the Middle East. One of the reasons as to why they are called the oil companies, it is because oil countries, it is because of their rich oil and what they have in terms of the minerals there in the Middle East, countries like Dubai, Qatar, and what have you. Okay, away from that, let's head into a break. I will return with more of the business updates. This is Smart Men's Business, and I'm Jerome Paul Sanko. All right, the COVID-19 pandemic and the issuing economic crisis are undermining prospects for global growth and damaging fast-growing African economies. And in this context, sustained actions are needed to help African countries build forward in a journey to safeguard the environment and climate. And tell you what, coming up next, we're heading into climate change, a topic I think every other business man out there, the youth, you should actually get yourself on the interest. But for now, I think I'm signing out and saying goodbye. And coming up shortly, we have Queen Abenacho, Miss Uganda 2018, taking us through this situation where we are having a full day of broadcast for you. But for now, I'm Jerome Paul Sanko. Thank you for joining us. This is SMB Chao, adios.